Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Seoxy with Triangle Gaming. Today I'm going to be bringing you a League of Legends guide. Now this guide is going to be a mid lane guide for Fiddlesticks, the Harbinger of Doom. This will be a pretty basic guide, so we will take a quick look at his abilities, his masteries, rune setup, and an item build that I like to use for him. And then as usual at the end of the video, I will throw in some gameplay footage, just so you can get a quick look at how he plays. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at his abilities. We'll start off with his passive, Dread. Nearby enemies have their magic resist reduced by 10. So that's pretty much self-explanatory, so moving on. Next is his Q ability, Terrify. Strikes a target unit with fear, causing it to flee in terror for a duration. Now this is a pretty nice CC ability. Not only does your opponent lose control of their champion, but it also does slow them down pretty significantly. So you can use this ability on initiating a fight or for disengage. And then you can also use this for chasing down an opponent, because its slow is pretty significant. And then after that we have his W ability, Drain. Fiddlestick saps the life force of an enemy, dealing damage to a target over time and healing himself. Now this is his main damaging ability. It does do pretty significant damage, and it also allows him for pretty good sustain. The only problem is that since this is pretty much his main damaging ability, it can be broken with a stun or a silence, which at that point you probably do just need to run away, because you'll have to wait until it comes off cooldown again. So you want to try to use this ability after your opponent's used his stun, or if you really don't have a choice, you probably don't want to engage in one-on-ones with that opponent. His next ability is his E ability, Dark Wind. A wisp of wind strikes an enemy unit and then bounces to nearby enemy units, dealing damage and silencing the victims. So this ability does have fairly long range. It doesn't do very much damage, but as it says, it does silence. And then there's Fiddlestick's ultimate, Crow Storm. A murder of crows flock wildly around Fiddlesticks, dealing damage each second to all enemy units in the area. Now this ultimate does do pretty significant damage, and what's pretty nice about it is when you activate it, you do get to select where you want him to go. So after he's done channeling it, he will flash to that area and begin the Crow Storm. Now for his max order, you will go ahead and take his E ability first, but you're going to max out his W ability first and his Q ability second, and then you'll come back and max out his E ability third. And then of course, as always, you will max out his ultimate whenever possible. So now let's go ahead and take a look at his masteries. I use 21 points in offense and 9 points in utility. We'll go ahead and start off with his offensive tree. I put 4 points in sorcery for some cooldown reduction, 3 points in mental force for some ability power, 1 point in exposed weakness for a little bit of extra damage, 1 point in arcane mastery for +6 ability power, and then I put 3 points in executioner just to help you kill those low health champions a little bit quicker, 3 points in archmage for 5% more ability power, 1 point in dangerous game, killing a champion restores 5% missing health and mana. I usually don't take this with my champions, but with Fiddlestick's ultimate, with him having to be up close and personal, and then also with his main attack ability, Drain, making him be stationary, there's a good chance that you will be taking a good amount of damage. So hopefully you will get a couple kills fairly quickly, and this will just help get you back a little bit of health and mana during the process. And then I put 1 point in Arcane Blade to help your basic attacks do a little bit more damage. Then 3 points in Devastating Strikes for +6% armor and magic penetration, and 1 point in Havoc for +3% increased damage. Then for the utility tree, I put 3 points in Fleet of Foot for some movement speed, 1 point in Meditation for a little bit of mana regain, 3 points in Summoner Insight for some cooldown reduction, 1 point in Alchemist to increase the duration of potion and elixirs by 10%, and 1 point in Runic Affinity to help those buffs last a little bit longer. Now for your rune setup on the quintessences, I go ahead and take +4.95 ability power, and then for marks I take +0.87 magic penetration. For seals I do the flat +1 armor, and then on the glyphs I do the scaling +0.17 ability power per level. Now some other options are you can take the flat ability power, as well as if you're against a champion with a lot of poke, you may want to go ahead and take magic resist glyphs instead. Alright guys, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the item build. For your starting items, the standard start that you usually will go is you're going to take Doran's Ring, because it has pretty much everything you need. A little bit of health, some ability power, as well as some mana regain. And then you'll take 1 health potion and 1 mana potion. If you're against an AD mid, you'll probably go ahead and start off with cloth armor, and you're going to take 2 health potions and 3 mana potions. And with both those, you're going to go ahead and take a warding totem. Now on your first recall, you are going to go ahead and pick up Boots of Speed. And then if you're against an AD mid, you will go ahead and get Seeker's Arm Guard, since your first item probably will be Zhonya's Hourglass. And then if you're against AP, you'll go ahead and pick up Blasting Wand, because your first item is going to be Rabadon's Death Cap. Let's go ahead and talk about Zhonya's Hourglass and Rabadon's Death Cap. For Zhonya's Hourglass, it gives you a nice chunk of ability power, as well as some armor. And then it's active stasis, which makes you invulnerable for 2.5 seconds. And then Rabadon's Death Cap gives you a nice chunk of ability power, as well as its passive, which even further increases your ability power by 30%. For your boots, I usually take Ionian Boots of Lucidity, just for the cooldown reduction, but you can really almost take any of the boots depending on the situation. Then after that, you're going to take Relay's Crystal Scepter. Gives you a nice chunk of health along with some ability power. And then its passive's pretty nice, which just dealing spell damage will slow your opponent by 35%. For your situational items, there's the Abyssal Scepter. Gives you a nice chunk of ability power along with some magic resist. And then its Aura, which reduces the magic resist of nearby enemies by 20. And then if your enemy team has some magic resist items, you can go ahead and pick up Void Staff. Gives you a nice chunk of ability power, as well as its passive, which makes magic damage ignore 35% of the target's magic resist. And if you need a little bit of armor, there's Sunfire Cape, which gives you a nice chunk of health, as well as 45 armor. And then its passive, which deals 25 plus 1 per champion level magic damage per second to nearby enemies. Then there's Randuin's Omen, which gives you a nice chunk of health along with 70 armor. Its passive Cold Steel, when you're hit it reduces the attacker's attack speed by 10%, and then it's active, which slows the movement speed of nearby enemy units by 35% for 2 seconds. And then for your magic resist items, there's Spirit's Visage, which gives you 400 health, 55 magic resist, 20 health regain per 5 seconds, and 10% cooldown reduction. And then it's passive, which increases self-healing, health regain, lifesteal, and spell vamp effects by 20%. And then the last item I have here for you is Banshee's Veil. Gives you a nice chunk of health, as well as 55 magic resist. And its first passive grants a spell shield that blocks the next enemy ability. The shield refreshes after no damage is taken from enemy champions for 25 seconds. And then its next passive, which grants 45 health regain per 5 for up to 10 seconds after taking damage from an enemy champion or when the spell shield breaks. Alright guys, so now I got some gameplay footage lined up for y'all to watch. Just so you can get a quick look at his abilities and his playstyle. Hope you enjoy. So that's going to go ahead and do it for this guide. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and like, subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel for some more League of Legends guides. Also, feel free to leave comments below on ways that we can improve these guides. If not, thanks for watching, and have a good one.